President Trump declared an emergency today in Puerto Rico.
Residents were warned to brace for the worst.
Culebra fue una de las islas municipios que recibió los fuertes vientos del huracán Irma.
Maria, expected to become a hurricane later on, its path is actually following the path of Irma.
Puerto Rico está enfrentando por primera vez en unos 85 años un huracán categoría 5.
Que aquí hay que evacuar, hay que hacer desalojo, dejándole saber a todos los ciudadanos que esto es un peligro.
There are no lights. It is dark, entirely dark. And apparently it could take months to get the power back on. Just think about that for a second in the modern world. Months with no power.
I spoke with the mayor of Utuado, an area there in the interior. He tells me about 78% of his people do not have power. Is Maria still killing people?
Yes.
Do you think you'll have to write Maria again on a death certificate?
In my opinion, yes.
They believe that the death toll here related to Hurricane Maria should stand closer to 4,600. So what would the one thing be that you want for Christmas?
I want to be at my house.
It was a shock. No one was actually prepared for how potent and how intense and how destructive the hurricane was. Not the Puerto Rican people, not the Puerto Rican government, not FEMA, and not the U.S. government.
What was your experience for you in Hurricane Maria?
Horrible. Yo pensaba que, o sea, que la casa la perdía porque habían como remolinos y temblores. Las puertas de cristal y eso se cubrieron, pero eso se lo llevó el viento. Yo tengo videos de las cosas, pero eso duró tanto y tanto y tanto, horas y horas y horas ahí, y ahí eso no se quedó. Todo esto se lo llevó, aquí había techo, eso se lo llevó completo. Todo esto tenía árboles y todos esos árboles cayeron. Wow. Todo eso cayó encima de la casa. Ya tuviste que eso pesaba, lo del aire, y eso lo tumbó. De esto de cuando eso impactó la casa, yo creo que la casa se había partido.
To understand how Puerto Rico was impacted by the hurricane, especially now 12 months after the hurricane, you have to understand the context in which the hurricane came. Puerto Rico has been in an economic crisis for over a decade, and in response to this, the Obama administration appointed a fiscal joint to the Puerto Rican government with broader powers over the economy of Puerto Rico. This sparked a lot of controversies in the island, some being for it because of their distrust for the Puerto Rican government, others being against it, saying that it's an evidence of how Puerto Rico is in a colonial status. However, things intensified when the fiscal joint announced their austerity measures, in which they would either cut funding from public education or from health. Many Puerto Ricans, especially university students, asked for an audit of the island's debt in order to make sure that whatever was cut from either health or public education was actually worth it and was actually necessary. When the Puerto Rican government kind of denied this audit, university students went on a strike. They closed down every public university campus in the island and protested daily for months. This was in the beginning of 2017, the same year of the hurricane. Then came May 1, 2017, which marked the national strike of the island. Thousands of Puerto Ricans went to the streets to protest the austerity measures and also to protest for the audit to be done. After May 1, 2017, university students continued their strike, but this strike actually started simmering down as university students started to realize that further protesting would actually take away their whole semester. So the summer of 2017 for public university students was studying and taking classes and making sure that the semester was done. Then came Hurricane Maria. Hurricane Maria struck Puerto Rico September 20, 2017. The city area of Puerto Rico was in a way blessed because FEMA had the most access to them. They were the first to access the canned foods, the communications, even electricity. However, many communities in the mountains were without any form of communication for months. They were completely cut off from the rest of the island. They didn't know if they were gonna get help in the next day. They didn't know if they were gonna get help in the next months. And a lot of them didn't get help for the next months. Imagine having a whole family in your house, a daughter, a son, a baby, a grandmother that you have to take care of, and not knowing how you would get food for them for the next months. Recovery after the hurricane was excruciatingly slow, as you may know. Basically 12 months later, and now it is being said that electricity has been restored. And even then, a lot of communities right now are still having major problems with electricity and drinkable water.
El laundry lo improvisamos porque no tenemos agua ni tenemos nada.
And this is now how they're cleaning their clothes.
Many public university students had to make up for the time they was taken away from their education after the hurricane by taking what would be 2 semesters or 3 semesters of classes in the time frame of 1 semester in spring 2018. It's so important to understand the context in which the hurricane came because the news cycle tends to go by really fast and it tends to focus on certain things. And of course the electricity aspect is super important, but it's even more than that. We're talking about an island that has been in an economic crisis that's crippling for over a decade before the hurricane. The hurricane has huge implications on Puerto Rico and its economy and its people. The word for all of this, the description that really in a way embodies all of this experience is exhaustion. Complete and utter exhaustion. But don't get me wrong. This story isn't just about destruction. It's about reconstruction. This story is about communities that built themselves up from scratch after the hurricane without anyone's help, without the government's help, without FEMA's help. They did it all by themselves. It's about community leaders, incredible leaders like Carmen Villanueva from Santurce or Isaura from Jayuya.
Cuando llegó María, yo estaba aquí, pero la casa no estaba protegida. Entonces el vecino del frente me dijo, pues vente para casa, en lo que pasa María, y deja la casita cerrada. Venían 4 muchachos, jamás los había visto. Ellos me dijeron, espérese, no se vaya señora, que vamos a arreglarle, vamos a proteger su techo. Trajeron todo el material, trajeron todo, empezaron a trabajar, estuvieron 4 horas aquí. Yo le di las gracias. Porque yo no conocía a ellos sinceramente y se fueron y me trataron de buscarlo. Creía que yo vivía por aquí, pero no, porque yo nunca lo he visto.
This is about a culture that knows how to smile, how to sing, how to dance through the torture. I got the chance to go back to Puerto Rico this summer because during the hurricane I was actually in the university. And when I went back, I didn't see a culture on its knees. I saw a culture standing up. I saw a culture that was still alive, that was still lively, that was still so beautiful. That's what this story is about. This story is about an island that even a Category 5 hurricane can't destroy the beauty of. It's about a beautiful place called Puerto Rico that has survived even worse moments in its history and will survive this one.